Good morning and welcome. Wow, I almost fell asleep there. Good morning and welcome to this episode of Vision Alignment, where we begin to understand that we all have blindness in our lives. If we can understand that blindness, we can kind of put some blinders on at times and take blinders off as well at other times, then we're going to understand how important it is for us all to have a vision that matches up, is in line with our core values and our core beliefs. That's why it's so important for us all to have the aligned vision. So, someone that has a great aligned vision that I've known for a few years, her name is Mary Valloni, and she is with us today. Hello, Mary.
Hey.
How are you?
Oh my goodness, so good. Now that I'm spending time with you.
Well, thank you for that. So tell me, when is the first time that your first recollection that you have of knowing your vision?
Yeah. Well, so I would say it was probably the summer after my sophomore year of college. So I am a North Dakota girl, and I went to college in Springfield, Missouri, so Southwest Missouri State at the time. And I did an internship the summer after my sophomore year, and something just happened during that time that just kind of came alive in me and made me just this spark of what I do. And I help charities raise money. I help ministries and missionaries raise money for their causes. And that summer, there was something about being a part of just so many different experiences. And it was specifically a ministry-based experience, but I knew that I was going to be working with a lot of diverse people, a lot of people of different backgrounds. And I had such clarity in that moment that God had something really special planned for me. I didn't actually get to see this all come to fruition for about 12 years after that. And so it's been really cool just to see how each thing that I've gotten to do in charity work, I worked for the American Cancer Society and Special Olympics and the ALS Association, but during that time, my vision continued to stay the same, that I was really focused on helping people live an abundant life, really living in, getting away from that lack and scarcity and moving into this space of abundance. So yeah, that was kind of my moment.
Wow. If you want to hear more, stick around. Mary, thank you so much for joining us today. Before we get started, I want to encourage people to share this video out with as many people as you can think of. And Mary, I'll encourage you as well.
Yeah.
To share this video out. It's on Facebook, it's on LinkedIn, it's on YouTube. So just share it and make this community as big as we can. So that's awesome. And then I also want to make sure that if you're listening to this live, put in a hashtag live. If you're listening on replay, put in a hashtag replay and tell me where you're coming in from. That would be cool because Mary is in St. Louis. She's a North Dakota girl, but she's from St. Louis, lives in St. Louis now. And then we also have many other people that are coming in from different locations as well. So having said that, I want to make sure that we do that. And then also, if you would, please put in your timeline a picture of you winking. And when you go put a picture of you winking, some people might think you're making fun of me, but that's not the case. So I want you to understand what makes you unique. And what makes me unique is not my eye, and believe it or not. What makes me unique is my positive personality and how I'm able to share my story with other people in order to have an impact on their lives. So if I can know what makes me unique and it's not my eye, I want what makes you unique. So think about that. And we'll continue on. But Mary, again, thank you so much.
Yes, absolutely. Well, it's a joy to be with you.
It's always good to be with you.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me a little bit about your story. You told us a little bit about your opening there, but what else has happened since then?
Yeah. So it's been such a crazy whirlwind, especially in the last, 6, 7 years. I was working for the American Cancer Society, had this incredible experience where I put on a first year fundraiser that net $500,000 and it
Whoa.
net $500,000 in its first year. And it was in the middle of the Great Recession, back in 08, 09, and it was just everybody was really scrambling to figure out how to raise money during that season,
Hmm.
very similar to the season that we're in right now.
Yeah.
And but that event was so successful that I started teaching other people how to raise money, and it came to a place where my dad was battling cancer while I was working for the American Cancer Society, and in that moment, I was like, we none of us are guaranteed any amount of time, and it just reminded me that I gotta do what I'm called to do. So back to the vision of knowing that I really wanted to help as many people as possible. I launched my business, Mary Valloni Consulting, and now I get to help hundreds and thousands of charities all over the world. And so it's just so much fun. I love what I do. I tell people I'm in retirement. Like, I say I retired at 33, and I like to think that I would do this for free. I love what I get to do. My people are absolutely incredible. People who run nonprofits, you work with, you have so many connections to nonprofits that it's like these guys are so selfless, and they just really, really want to help their people and raise the money that they need so that they can fulfill their mission. So
Yeah.
I get to do that.
Working with that group of people, it's got to be so relieving because you don't have to deal with the corporate structure typically that you would run into, and you don't have the attitudes that typically that you have in corporations. So that's got to be so freeing to work with them.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and the thing is that I guess I'm trying to make some of our nonprofits. When you look at ministry and faith-based organizations, I'm really helping them create a little bit more structure. And whereas some of our really organized nonprofits, the ones that are just they're raising millions and millions of dollars, they've really figured out how to that blend of business and nonprofit charity work. They found that great mix. But yeah, no, I love it. These people are doing this out of the kindness of their heart. Like all the volunteers, I find so many people say to me, they're like, you have to work with people who don't get paid. And I was like, yeah, for the most part, these guys are all, a lot of them are volunteering their time. So you can't, encourage them to be a part of this by dangling a dollar bill. It's got to be something bigger. And I think there's a lot to be learned there for our businesses as well.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. So we've got some people that have joined on here. So my friend Eric Bam comes on. Yeah, he comes with some crazy stuff every once in a while, but he wears bedazzled pants.
I love it. Oh, and is today National Pizza Day?
That's what he claims. He claims that every day.
All right, I'll take that one.
So, what's your favorite kind of pizza?
Oh my goodness. Well, I actually just had pizza the other night, and we had meatball and pepperoni. So with a name like Valloni, you need some meatballs on that pizza.
Yeah. So did you make your own, or do you?
No, it was actually from a local pizza place. So yeah,
awesome.
In St. Louis, you can get Italian here. We've got the hill right down the street. Yeah.
Kevin Hunt says the ultimate sales job. Yeah, that's true.
Absolutely.
And Eric, yeah, awesome. Wow, this is great. So there's more people coming on. As always, put in hashtag live where you're coming in from. Let me know and let us know and make this community bigger. So that's awesome. So your vision pretty well.
Yeah.
And what is I know you wrote a book. So what does the book play a part in that vision?
Yeah. So I wrote my book called Fundraising Freedom, and I wrote the book in 2016, launched it in 2017. And, that book, I think sometimes people think that writing a book, and this as well, is going to change everything. It's going to just open up so many doors. Well, the thing is it did open up doors, but at the same time, it allowed me to really hone in on my vision because I love helping charities raise money. And I know that that's an unusual joy. It's an unusual passion for somebody, but it did give me a lot of clarity as I was writing that book. So, and I tell people I wrote the book because I was getting so many questions about how to raise money. So the book allowed me to just say, hey, go read the book and then come talk to me, so that, we're talking the same language. And part of having clarity and vision and all that stuff is that you really can align, and that you're moving in the same direction together. So chapter one of my book is all about writing a vision statement. And by the way, chapter 1 is called Focus Your Vision. So it's perfect for this show.
I love it. I need to pick up my copy again. I've got it in the back.
Yeah.
But I need to read it again. So
yeah, Focus Your Vision. No, it's so good. And I think that's where so many people struggle, is that they just don't know how to clearly share what it is that they do. And they know they're making such an incredible difference. They just don't know how to say it. So yeah, I help that, part of the work that people are doing in their charities.
Now that's gotta be very, very gratifying.
Yeah.
Eric agrees with us. He says the Hill is incredible. What's the Hill?
Okay, so the Hill in St. Louis is the Italian neighborhood. So my husband's grandfather actually grew up there. So originally it was, when everybody migrated over, they kind of stayed in their own little pockets. So so I live in Dogtown, which is right next to the Hill, and Dogtown is the Irish neighborhood. So lots of Germans, lots of Irish. We tried to get into the Hill, but it's hard to build a home in the Hill when they're row houses, so they're all like stacked up on top of each other. But we love it. Food is amazing. Like if when you come to St. Louis, like you have to eat at Zia's, the Missouri Bakery. I mean, like it's just it's the best.
Okay.
So there you go. There's your history lesson.
That's awesome. I appreciate that.
And you've got Italian flags on every corner, so you're in the Hill.
Really? Huh. Yeah. Okay. So what else do you say here? It's amazing to see people that raise money for their nonprofits via GoFundMe on Facebook. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that you might have something to say about that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Sure. Well, I love that so many people have jumped in and said, hey, we're going to use our platforms, to really raise funds for the causes that we care about. So I do love a good Facebook, birthday post and, GoFundMe out there. But I will say, though, if anyone's listening right now and they actually work with a 501c3 nonprofit that's like, hey, you're a legit, not just somebody who had, a situation that came up where you needed help. That's really great for GoFundMe. But I do encourage nonprofits to really utilize their platform. So use their website, use their, just their formats in order to do that. Because I'm like, you are running a business. It'd be kind of weird if we started making our money off of Facebook or GoFundMe. It just doesn't feel legitimate. So anyway, just a shout out to the charities.
It's not really aligned.
Right. It is. Exactly. It's not an alignment. Especially with their vision, when I'm like, you created this platform, you just want to drive all your traffic to the same place. So not to confuse your donors and say, oh, you can give here, you can give here, you can give here. And then people are like, oh, shoot, where should I give?
Right.
So it just, it's confusing. And we have a mutual mentor who says, confusion, clarity attracts, confusion repels.
Right.
And that is so true in the nonprofit sector.
Wow. Yeah, that's true. And those words come back all the time.
Yes, so. I know. Clarity attracts.
Yeah. So tell me, what's the next level of your success look like?
Yeah, well, it's really interesting that we're having this conversation today because, you and I spoke a couple months ago as we were making plans for this. And I have been doing consulting work for the last 6.5 years. And in December, I had decided that I was going to take a leap of faith and start really spending a lot more time in the faith-based sector and really spending a lot of time with missionaries and ministry leaders. And so this new stage, it just is a reminder that stick with what like when but sometimes you're like, well, but I don't want to close that door and I don't want to close that door. And I'm like, sometimes you just got to close the doors. And so I am in a season of faith building in my own life where, and every person that I work with, I mean, they're leaping out, trying to help in an area that has not, something that hasn't been solved. They're trying to fix a really tough problem. That's why the nonprofit industry exists. And so I've just been, just stepping out into this new season and just saying, what, I'm going to do what I'm called to do. And, Brian, when we first met, I wrote, when we both had written our books, and I had put out a podcast called the Fundraising Freedom Podcast. And I had no intention of working with faith-based leaders. Like, I mean, I worked in the American Cancer Society. I worked for Special Olympics, the ALS Association. I didn't really have any background with faith-based organizations. But when you speak, you draw in a certain audience, and it just turned out those were my people. And so I've just really loved getting to know so many of them and now becoming more of an expert in that space.
So now you're going more towards the faith-based.
Yeah. And it's just, it's crazy because I'm like, no, don't close the door. But I mean, like, not that I'm not going to help other charities as well, but I just have really gotten such clarity and vision that, those are my people. And, there's such a hunger to learn. And I think that there's just not a whole lot of resources out there for those faith-based organizations. So yeah, my business, I've been working in it for several years, called Fully Funded Academy. And I've been doing this for years, but it was kind of more like a passion project and just something that I did on the side. And now I'm like, okay, enough with the passion project. Like, let's make the passion project the project. So I now, those guys, they're just amazing. So, and just working all over the world, which is great.
Awesome. You mentioned a mutual mentor of ours, but you've gotten a lot of advice from a lot of different people. What's the best advice you've ever gotten?
I think the best advice I've gotten is just be authentically you. Like, we don't need to be cookie cutter, mocks, of other people, because I think, like, even you, Brian, like, the thing that makes you unique, although like probably a pain for you that you've gone through so much, change and trauma and, you name it, it makes you unique. Like, when we first met and you're like, Brian with one eye, it's just like, I still remember the moment I met you because you are uniquely you. And like you said, you bring this energy and this excitement, and, and that's how I am too. Like, I know that my gift is encouragement. I know that I just really like to be that positive, influence in a lot of people's lives, and fundraising is a tough topic. And, your friend said it's a sales job. It's, sometimes it gets a little bit tough, but I'm like, there's so much joy and there's so much fun in that. So anyways, I just, being you, like, everybody else is already taken, right?
Right.
So, I just think that, continuing to just pave your own course, put the blinders on, stay, you are uniquely equipped to do something, and you don't have to be anybody but yourself. So, yeah.
Awesome. That's cool. So you talked a lot about all the stuff you do and how hard it is at times to be in that sales job and be in the role you're in. So what do you do to recharge?
Yeah, well, I just came off of vacation.
Yeah, right.
But to recharge, I am definitely an internal processor. Like, although I'm outgoing and I love to be around people, I'm actually fairly introverted. And so I need to take that time where I just am journaling and I'm just in silence and I'm not distracted by anything. So it's really important for me to spend that time away. And I know that's so counter to the world that we live in, where it's like productivity and hustle and grind and all that stuff. And I'm like, yeah, but the best ideas come when you shut it all down. Yeah. So for me, I'm like, I don't like to shut things down, to be honest with you. Like, I would much rather prefer to be working and running and, doing, but I've learned that that's just, my personality, and I need to be okay with being quiet and being alone and just, listening to silence for a moment.
Yeah. So there are times where, and you did a great job of helping me with this in deep conversations. I mean, having those deep
Yeah.
conversations has made a big difference.
Yeah. Well, you and I talked specifically about this idea of a joy list.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I don't know, it was just one of those things that I did this exercise, and, something that I think is important if you've never done this before is just to take out a sheet of paper and just write down all the things that bring you joy. And you and I talked about that, and it was just fun because you were like, outside having pizza. So,
exactly.
and just doing the things that you love, and obviously deep conversations is on my joy list. So
Yeah. What else is on your joy list?
oh my goodness, I have about 30 things on my joy list.
Wow.
And it includes, a cup of coffee, snuggles with my dogs, which,
Mhm.
I get a lot of these things in the beginning of the day. So
The Dalmatians.
my Dalmatians, yes,
Yeah.
we've got two fur kids.
Mm.
But I just, yeah, they're amazing. And I don't know, I understand Cruella de Vil a little bit more because for anyone who's ever pet a Dalmatian, they are the softest dogs around. So they're the best cuddlers. And but anyways, I love my dogs. But and walks at Forest Park. I live in St. Louis, the Hill, Italian food, of course.
Yeah.
And I've got, coffee and wine, and there's all sorts of things that are a part of that. But
Wow.
in the end, it just was so interesting to me that once I got my, list together, and of course spending time with my husband. But
Oh yeah, right.
Gino,
Yeah.
yes. So, but I mean, like once I got that list together, I told you that I started to just do more of it. And I think that that's what so many of us spend so much time doing, the things that we think that we should be doing versus doing the things that we really enjoy that are going to fill our tank.
Right.
And so, yeah, once I saw that, I'm like, well, a lot of this stuff on the list, it wasn't like being a slacker the whole time. Those deep conversations were work related, and having that time to just think. But another thing on my list is whiteboards. I love a good dry erase whiteboard. I have them
You love a whiteboard.
everywhere. So when we built this house, I told my husband, I'm like, I want whiteboards everywhere in my office. so mission accomplished.
So you have the walls that are whiteboard material?
Yeah. So my
Right.
entire wall on this side here
Yeah.
is an entire wall of whiteboard. And then I've got a couple of different boards that are set up across the room. So yeah.
Huh.
I turned my camera, but I think I'd
Oh.
lose some connections.
That's okay. That's
Yeah.
okay.
Anyway.
Wow. So tell me, and tell our listeners, I mean, there's so much that you have that you invest in, you invest in yourself, but what do you invest in yourself with right now? Like, what are you reading?
Yeah. So I do a lot of listening to audiobooks on YouTube. So here's a little secret.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like the old books that, the books that didn't really like they're whatever open to the public. So they're actually, a lot of people have, written or, done the audio version of the books. So I like to just go on to YouTube and just listen to, some of these guys like, John Maxwell and Napoleon Hill and some of these guys that are just, thought leaders. And I don't always take everything like, super serious, but I like to just hear what other people are mulling over and what they're thinking about. So there's that. I did actually, this is really bad, but it's a good book. But on my vacation, my husband sucked me in to listen to Matthew McConaughey's new book called Green Lights.
Yeah.
And I mean, Matthew McConaughey's life is crazy. So I'm just going to give a little heads up that, I mean, there's lots of F-bombs and, it's crazy. But it was, the audiobook was him talking. And so it was just super entertaining. But what was interesting was just how in the book, he talks about just how many things you would think are a red or a yellow light. Like it's like the awful things in life. I mean, just, look at your situation, how you've turned maybe a red light into a green light.
Mhm.
and how it's like, okay, this is now the new normal, and it's opportunity and it's growth and it's change, but it's good, So I think that was a great takeaway from good old Matthew McConaughey. But anyways, so many good books. I do love, I love reading. One of my dear friends, her name is Margaret Allen. She wrote a book called Gracious Living. And so I was reading that just recently as well. And so I read a lot. Audiobooks are a big part of my life. And so I always trying to pump some new information in my life.
That's good. That's good.
Yep.
So you've talked a lot about different people in your life. Who do you have that helps you to see your blind spots?
Well, I would say my husband is like the number one person who has no problem pointing out my blind spots. But
do you listen to him?
Yes, no, he is absolutely incredible. And I would not be doing the work that I'm doing without him, because I didn't actually see it all coming together the way that he did. And so it was, I mentioned Napoleon Hill, and a lot of people talk about masterminds and, how, be around really solid people who can help you move forward. Well, I do believe that my husband and I have a true mastermind. I think that that's where I think people get a little bit disconnected on that it's like, we're both working towards the same goal. Like we are both moving in the same direction together, not just business partners, or business acquaintances. I mean, we're doing life together. And so he saw this ability for me to consult and to help charities. And he's like, Mary, why are you not doing this? And it was just like, you need, if you're tired of doing the grind, like go after that. And so I give him a lot of credit for seeing that and speaking that into my life. Although sometimes he's that strong Italian, it just says it like it is. But I appreciate that. That helps me. For anybody who follows the Enneagram, I am an Enneagram 3 and my husband's an Enneagram 8. So we're both very driven people. But I'm, as an achiever, I'm goal oriented already. I'm already focused on those goals. But he's going to challenge the system at every turn. So he's questioning, which allows me to really, move in the right direction.
All right. I'm not familiar with Enneagram. How do you spell that?
Oh, it's ENNEAGRAM. Enneagram. Yeah.
Okay.
It's life-changing. So
is it Enneagram.com or?
The best one, the one that I like to go to is EnneagramInstitute.com. So, and you can just click the second little button on there and it gives you an overview of all the different numbers, but it's just a 1 through 9 number system. Once you start looking through it, you'll be like, okay, this makes sense. But a lot of people compare it, although I don't think it should really be compared to like a Myers-Briggs or a DISC, model kind of personality test. But, but I really, I've enjoyed it, quite a bit to just understand myself better. Because it's easy to be blinded by, well, everybody lives this way. Everybody sees the world this way. And I'm like, no, they don't.
Did I spell that right?
Oh yeah, you got it. Yep. You got it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being here. This has gone by so fast. I can't believe it. We're already at the end of our time.
I know. So sad.
Yeah. So if you would stick around, I'm going to close the show out and stick around in the green room. There's plenty of green M&Ms and stuff in there. So take advantage of that, and I will be with you shortly. Right. Thank you, Mary.
Yes. Thank you, guys.
All right. Take care. Wow. I always get new stuff from people, and I always want to follow them. I want to do more with them. So, and Mary Valloni is no one that falls outside of that. She's one of those people, and I just love her. Love her spirit, love her personality. So, and I encourage you all, if you're in the fundraising way or in business, and just reach out to her and follow her as well. So I can't tell how important it is to have a good friend like that. Tomorrow we have another great speaker coming on. It's Michael Davis, who is a speaking coach. He'll be on tomorrow. And then Thursday we have, who do we have Thursday? Forget right off the top of my head who Thursday, but then, Eric Bam. How could I forget Eric? He'll be on Thursday, and then Friday will be Bryn Tillman. Bryn Tillman is a LinkedIn expert, so you want to be here for that. Oh, wow, what a busy day. What a busy day. So this is awesome. Thank you all so much for being here. And if there's ever anything that I can do for you, please let me know. And as always, keep one eye